easy as it is in the movies. In the movie Field of Dreams, Kevin Costner was walking through his cornfield when he first heard the voice. If you build it, he will come.
If you build it, he will come. If you build it.
He saw the vision, cut a baseball diamond out of Iowa corn, and sure enough, the ghosts of baseball past came to play. But things haven't turned out that way in St. Petersburg, Florida.
You can fit the Astrodome or the Metrodome or any other dome facility underneath the crown of this structure.
It's called the Florida Suncoast Dome, $140 million worth of concrete and Teflon, financed by local taxpayers. And as St. Petersburg Assistant City Manager Rick Dodge is happy to tell you, it has 43,000 seats, 50 luxury boxes, one hydraulically operated pitcher's mound. It has everything but a team. There have been rock concerts, arena football, and the world's largest garage sale. Even car races around the outfield.
We've had every sporting, entertainment, cultural event except baseball.
But for this city on Tampa Bay, baseball is the only thing that matters. Baseball has been St. Petersburg's stab at a new identity. Tampa, its sister city across the bay, has business, industry, and professional football. St. Petersburg has a reputation as God's waiting room, a retirement center with a dying downtown where billboards tout cremations and police cruise the streets in golf carts. If time doesn't exactly stand still in St. Petersburg, sometimes it seems that way. The Civic Boosters, baseball's the way to change that.
You really don't become, in someone's perception, a major league city until you have Major League Baseball.
For the past year and a half, utility executive Jack Critchfield has led a community effort to find a team to fill the empty dome. He showed us one of the posters that were plastered all over St. Petersburg. May the team come true.
We know that there's at least a $100 million positive impact if you have Major League Baseball. We were counting on those new jobs to be created. We were counting on becoming a major league city to attract, if you will, more corporations being headquartered here, and all of the attributes that come with the economic impact of baseball.
Well, it's been, Steve, a blunder. It's been a colossal, monumental blunder.
Former state legislator Dennis McDonald has been an opponent of the dome from the very beginning. He ran for mayor twice on an anti-dome platform. Last time, he got 45% of the vote.
How much is this costing St. Petersburg?
It's costing us $12 million a year to pay for it. And $8.5 for us and $3.5 for the county. And that will continue on ad infinitum, I suppose.
And what would that money have been used for if it was not being used for the dome?
The $8.5 million that we're paying this year is $8.5 million that we don't have available for better police protection, for more firemen. It's $8.5 million we don't have to put in parks, in libraries, in community centers. It's just a massive drain on our city's tax base and wallet.
Over the last few years, 8 different major league teams have toyed with the idea of coming to the Tampa Bay area. Nearly 1 out of every 3 teams in baseball. But every time Tampa Bay fans suited up for a new hometown team, something has popped up at the last minute to dash their hopes.
The Chicago White Sox nearly came. They wanted a new stadium, and they told the Illinois legislature if they didn't get one, they were moving to Tampa Bay. They nearly got the Florida Marlins, one of the new National League expansion teams. Tampa Bay was one of the finalists. But Major League Baseball awarded a Florida franchise to downstate rival Miami instead. The Mariners were this close to coming. They were going broke in Seattle and on their way to Tampa Bay when a local corporation with a yen for baseball stepped in at the last minute and saved the team for Seattle. But it was the San Francisco Giants that finally drove the people of Tampa Bay over the edge. The Giants were losing $10 million a year playing in foggy, frigid Candlestick Park. And 4 times the voters of San Francisco refused to build them a new stadium. So Giant owner Bob Lurie decided to sell the team to a Tampa Bay group. They not only shook hands on the deal, they signed a written contract. This time it seemed nothing could go wrong.
30,000 people reserved season tickets, and a new poster was printed. Thumbs up. Looking good.
It was sort of like after VE Day. I mean, there were celebrations and happiness. I've never seen a community respond in such a way, only to be subsequently terribly disappointed and dejected for the third or fourth time.
While Vince Namoli, the man who thought he'd bought the Giants for Tampa Bay, was working with Major League Baseball on the design of the team's uniforms, a group of baseball owners was working behind the scenes to keep the team in San Francisco.
Have you ever been involved in a business like baseball?
It's the first time I have ever seen anything sold to the lowest bidder.
What Vince Namoli means is that in a maneuver that could only happen in baseball, Major League owners blocked the move and forced the sale of the Giants to a San Francisco group for $15 million less than the Tampa Bay offer. Poster-wise, well, they printed up a third one. We'll let you guess where the finger was on that one. Suffice it to say, the mood in St. Petersburg turned ugly. To Rick Dodge, the owners were behaving more like oil sheiks than sportsmen.
When you understand that baseball is 28 feudal lords and a loose, basically, confederation with the monopoly.
You make it sound like a cartel.
It is a cartel. I don't make it sound like one. It is one.
In many ways, Major League Baseball is above the law. The 28 owners who control it don't have to follow the same rules that other American businesses do when it comes to competition. It's the owners who decide how much baseball there will be, how many teams, what cities will get them, who can own them. If you tried that in any other industry, you'd be hauled into court for violating federal antitrust laws.
However, thanks to Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes in a 1922 Supreme Court decision, baseball hasn't had to obey the antitrust rules. According to Justice Holmes, baseball's not a business.
To say it's not a business is just plain bull.
Connie Mack has one of the best-known names in baseball history. His grandfather was the legendary manager and owner of the Philadelphia Athletics. But Connie Mack III is baseball's worst nightmare. He's a United States Senator from Florida and is bent on taking Tampa Bay's revenge to the halls of the U.S. Congress. He's co-sponsoring a bill to end baseball's antitrust exemption.
The exemption's there because they say that it wasn't a business. That's the biggest joke that I've heard in the last 20 years. I wish I could figure a better way to say it. I can't use the words that came to my mind.
It's a very big business.
It's a huge business. 28 teams, 25 players, scattered around the country, $115 million for a franchise. It's a big, big, big business.
Peanut potato chip!
And it's not just peanuts and potato chips. It's ticket sales and home video, it's television rights and merchandising. Baseball's 28 owners control $1.5 billion a year empire. And when the Senate held hearings on the antitrust exemption last December, Connie Mack showed no mercy.
Their system is a fraud, an emotionally wrenching fraud. The people of Tampa, St. Petersburg were used, demeaned, and insulted. Owners should be ashamed of what they did, but they aren't. What I meant by that was that they, on 8 different occasions, have led the people of Tampa, St. Pete to believe that they had a legitimate shot at getting a Major League Baseball team. And it is obvious to all of us today that they were using Tampa Bay for their own gain, and that's disgusting.
Using them in what way?
Using them to leverage other communities or other groups to either pay more for a franchise or to, as a community, invest more in taxes to build new stadiums.
So you're saying it's to the owner's advantage to have a Tampa St. Pete sitting out there with a beautiful empty stadium because it makes all of their communities give them what they want.
Absolutely.
That's not the only theory we heard about why there's no baseball in St. Petersburg. The American League owners are saving it for themselves. The new Florida Marlins have a secret deal to keep competition out of the state. There are lots of theories. And what does Major League Baseball say about all this? Well, we asked Bud Selig, the owner of the Milwaukee Brewers, chairman of baseball's executive committee, and the acting commissioner of baseball.
There is no Machiavellian plot. If someone wants to sit down there in the hot sun and think that there's some Machiavellian plot...
It's an air-conditioned dome.
Well, I know, but maybe then there's cold air currents coming down on them, but whatever. There is no plot. This is just the way this game has been operated.
The way the game operates, Selig says, is that decisions are always made in the best interests of baseball. This time, the owners didn't steal the team from St. Petersburg. they saved the team for San Francisco.
That day, I got hundreds of letters from kids in Northern California and their parents who had grown up with Willie Mays and Willie McCovey and Orlando Cepeda and Juan Marichal, and whose hearts were breaking because the Giants were leaving.
I don't believe for a minute the general tone in baseball was because of some romantic belief that they wanted to protect the industry of baseball for those little kids in San Francisco. I mean, I believe the Oakland Athletics play about 6 miles away from there, so it's not like the area would be devoid of that baseball experience. And how about all the kids in this marketplace who don't have the opportunity to go 6 miles and see baseball? It's a business decision.
We believe our greatest obligation is to try to keep a team in its local market.
And just how did Bud Selig become a baseball owner? He bought the Seattle Pilots and moved them to Milwaukee.
But you wouldn't be the owner of the Milwaukee Brewers if the policy of baseball was you can't move a baseball team. And this team used to be the Seattle Pilots.
Right. Steve, that's true, except, A, that was before baseball had a policy like that, but more importantly, wrong.
Didn't you feel bad for all those poor little kids in Seattle who were losing the Pilots?
Sure, but they were playing in an old ballpark that was falling down, the old minor league ballpark, where a major league team, after 1 year, wound up in bankruptcy. Couldn't pay their bills, Steve.
The difficulty in dealing with baseball is you ask them a business question and you get a spirit of the game response, right? You ask them a spirit of the game response, you get a business answer. And it enables you to basically do the old shell game of disguising what their real intents are and what they want to accomplish.
Would baseball owners ever accomplish things by stooping to conspiracy? Well, a labor arbitrator thought so. 2 years ago, the owners were found guilty of collusion, conspiring together to keep players' salaries down.
You say that you operated ethically above board, and that you've never abused your antitrust privileges. Didn't you lose a lawsuit against the Players Association a couple of years ago for conspiring to
That's as a part
subvert the free agency process?
That's part of our collectively bargained agreement.
I think the distinction would be lost on some of the people in Tampa Bay. That you're saying that their point is that essentially it's a group of feudal owners operating a monopoly.
But when all is said and done, Steve, they want to join this group. Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. You've told me now for quite a while all the things that they've said about this group that they so desperately want to join.
There will be Major League Baseball in St. Petersburg for the next month. The Cardinals and Orioles are here for spring training, playing their games downtown at Old Alang Stadium. But they'll be heading north soon, and St. Petersburg will be left once again with its Suncoast Dome empty, still waiting for a team.
A friend of mine owns a tow yard, and they do a lot of private party impounds, which are if somebody abandons a car at an apartment or a house when they're evicted or moved, they call the landlord calls a private towing company type thing to come and pick it up, and then they'll lien sale it and try and notify the owner, and if an owner doesn't come through, then they end up in possession of it. Well, a friend of mine owns a one of these, it's a AAA rated place, and they also do private party impounds. I told him to keep an eye out for an Explorer, and one happened to come into his possession that was exactly the same as mine, and he brought it over today and dropped it off so I could check it out, and you can see it's an identical car. In fact, it's so identical, the VIN number is exactly the same. The only difference is the last 5 digits of the VIN, indicating it's, of course, a different vehicle, a different serial number. About 100,000 original miles, original radio. Look at this. It's even got a Sony CD changer system. We'll take a look at that. And the last time it was registered was 99. And it's a 92, so it was only in operation for what, 7 years? Look at the seats. No key, unfortunately. And what kind of sucks is this is a sidebar lock. I was trying to pick it, but the odds are I'm going to have to drill it. Nice factory radio. Ray Parker Jr. Maxell. Let's see what we got here. Sade, however you say it. Smooth operator. See if we could find that CD changer. I just like to fondle through other people's. It sure would be nice to find a key. Doors are nice and tight. No wear on the hinges. Alright, let's see what we got here. Tina Turner featuring Barry White. You know, at the time, CD changer would have been an actual notable upgrade. Now a CD changer is a waste of space. And here's the CD changer right here. Oh, look at this. Dinosaur. Probably can't get that out of there unless we have 12 volts. This is the hot thing, man, in 92. Wow, if you had this, 4 times oversampling, 10-disc magazine. Man, if you had this thing, you were styling in the early 90s. This is has the premium Eddie Bauer sound system like mine with the factory subwoofer, which means it has a 4-channel amp and a single channel amp. Even comes with some 90s clothes. Champion, large. Well, this pretty much identifies down to the ethnicity of the owner between this and the music. We can take a guess. This does have a bit of rust on it, where mine has no rust at all. Look at that, original radiator hose. Battery from Chief Auto Parts. Wonder if this would take a charge. And we were thinking that because it was the battery was disconnected, that there probably wasn't anything wrong with the vehicle. It was just a planned storage. He found it was pulled out of an underground parking structure near the beach. Coolant's full and looks real nice, which might suggest that the head gaskets are okay. That's one of the big failure points on this. You can actually see that it's more rusty on the bottom than the top than the bottom. Lot of rust. I know you Midwest guys are used to this, but mine virtually has no rust at all. Look at lower radiator hoses factory. Hey, and it's not all bent up and trashed like mine. Mine, the bottom's all bent up. Take a look at the radius arm bushings. Well, there is no radius arm bushing on this one. It's totally gone. Which is no big deal. I have that down to a science. You just back the bolt off, take the sway bar and the shock loose. A lot of people drill these rivets out here. You don't drill those rivets out. You just take that off. You take the sway bar and the shock off and take a come along and pull it forward an inch or two and it pops right out and you can change it. A lot of rust. A lot more rust than I'm used to. Even the drive shaft is kind of rusty. Original muffler. Seats are in good shape. The leather's in real nice shape. Sure would be nice to find a key because I'm going to have to drill it. Here's having a look at the seat in mine. I think you can see the difference. It's also got a lot of this green, this kind of green corrosion-y crap on it from being near the beach. Yeah, you know, you look at mine, the one I'm currently driving is, take a look at mine here, there is no rust, there is no corrosion. Just a lot of dirt and crap from off-roading. Unfortunately, the back is locked, so look at that, the original jack. Sure would be nice to find a key. Things in the interior is like in mint condition. The headliner, look at this, it looks brand new. It doesn't have a sunroof, which mine does, which is more, the only thing that's good for is running wires through for antennas. Besides that, it's a pain in the ass. Nope, nothing. Which is no surprise because these swivel joints, quick disconnect joints, leak. I don't know, it might be good as a parts car. It's kind of questionable to take a car like this that hasn't run in 10 years and start it up. The fuel pump will probably fail. The water pump will probably all the kind of key rubber seals will fail. Maybe the U-joints in the drive shaft. Who knows if it even goes into four-wheel drive. I mean, yeah, it's only got 100,000 on it, but leaving a car set is really bad. But we'll get it fired up. I got to figure out how to I wonder if this would take a charge. I'm sure it's sulfated to death, but check this out. The battery has negative 1.1 volts in it. Negative, and I'm hooked up right. Guess maybe at some point when it sulfates to a certain point, it just goes negative. Just for the humor effect, I put the charger on it, and of course there's nothing. Nobody's home. I mean, it's gone. It's beyond gone. $15 volts from the charger on it. It might be starting to take a charge. The voltage, what the voltage will do is it'll drop. It would drop way down to 10 volts and then it would come back up. But I doubt it. It is the same exact vehicle, and the nice thing about it is they lien sailed it, and it's free and clear. It's completely out of the system, so it's been unregistered so long. So it would be like an initial registration, you know, with low price, so low yearly registration. So it's I think I'll make some videos working on this thing. It'll be fun to get the camera on it when I start it up, since it hasn't run since '99. 15 years, is that right? 2000? Hasn't run in 15 years. I wonder if there's a date code on the battery. I don't know if that's it. Maybe 6/8, maybe 6 of 98. $85-month warranty. Most new batteries now are 18-month warranty. That's right, 18-month warranty, year and a half. So that's a quick overview. I think it would be interesting to do some videos, some initial startup videos on this thing. Looks like it was well cared for by the owner. It's too bad that beach water got to it and rusted it. This one you would have to use a lot of lube and a lot of patience on the bolts. Mine doesn't have any rust compared to this. You know, I was thinking, if this thing was made basically 1191, that means it would have been sold in 92. And if the tag is 99, then that means it was potentially, it was only driven from 92 to 99, or 92 to 98, and if it's got 6,384 miles on it, it would either have to be 1,000 miles a year or 20,000 miles a year. Nah, it's definitely 100,000 with how trashed the floor mat is there, how dirty. I really want to get that stupid CD thing open and have a look in there. Alright, well, I hooked it up. It's drawing 6 amps, well, with that light is on. But where am I getting 6 amps from? Let's see. Oh, disappointment. Well, that's even more of an indication that the thing was intentionally parked. Maybe I'll spend a few more minutes trying to pick this thing. What? The key with these sidebar locks is it's like winning the lottery, because you got to get the wafers in the right position, and then the sidebar drops in and then it'll turn. So it's not like you can pick it. You got to just get lucky with it. And the way they usually do this is they have a big ring of keys and they just keep trying keys and keys and keys until they hit the right one. But I'll play with it for a few more minutes. It sure would be nice to love the 60 hertz hum in that from the half-wave rectification of the hear that little 60 hertz modulation in there. Figured I'd try and blow and get some of the salt off this thing with the pressure washer, because I'm too far inland to really have a salt problem. And it's still kind of a little bit green. Yeah, I don't want to ruin my camera for this thing. It actually doesn't look too bad. Now that it's been pressure washed.